Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. The Russians again kill children and residential areas and apartment buildings, and no Ukrainian military, no military infrastructure, no ammunition, nothing. These Russians are so dumb. This article comes from the New Voice of Ukraine, obviously. So from August 10th, 2022. But if we read between the lines, we kind of figure out what happened. So whatever these guys are saying about their efforts, the Ukrainian efforts, you gotta cut about half. Whatever they say about the Russians' efforts, like nothing, you have to add half. So Russian invaders continue attacks in south, says Ukraine General Staff. Wait a second. I thought that Zelensky, that great president of Ukraine, the leader, the general, commander-in-chief, he said we're going to take the whole south, we're going to counter-offensive. And then we had the other weasel, defense minister, said only we know, the military knows when we're going to attack. When the war is over? I mean, I don't have to tell me, but it's kind of like it's getting cold. So what are you going to do? You're going to start the offensive when everything freezes or when the food is cold? So let's see what these guys are saying. It says here that in particular, the enemy fired shells from tanks and artillery of various calibers along the contact line in the South Bukh area, and they shot about 80 or something. The villages of Novrohorivka, Andriivka and Olhine were hit by airstrikes. The invaders also conducted air reconnaissance with the use of UAVs. I have a problem with that word, big problem. I never can remember it. Reconnaissance. Ukraine's general staff said that two caliber type sea-based cruise missiles remain stationed in the waters. So the carriers of two sea-based cruise missile carriers remain stationed in the waters of the Black Sea for use against Ukraine. And I'm quoting, "There is a threat of missile strikes on military and critical infrastructure sites in Ukraine," report says. A threat. But the Russians never do it. They are incapable. The military added that the attack aircraft of the air forces of Ukraine continue to patrol the airspace of Ukraine, while ground attack aircraft are successfully providing air support to Ukrainian units in certain operating areas. Okay, that might be, an attack. So then we have here, it says Russian attack on Dnipropetrovsk kills 11. So on the night of the 9th of August, Russian forces attacked Dnipropetrovsk Oblast, killing 11 civilians and injuring another 13. The source, Valentin Reznichenko, head of the Dnipropetrovsk Oblast military administration, and I'm quoting, "It was a tragic night. The Russian army has killed 11 civilians in the Nikopol district and injured another 13. Just civilians. The enemy has twice used GRAD's multiple launch rocket systems to fire on the district, launching 80 rockets on residential neighborhoods." Only that. Now, don't you think that the Russians hitting only those that shows actually precision? Because from these articles that I read, the Russians are hitting only residential buildings and areas. So that means if they target at it, have a high accuracy rate. They're very precise if they target only that. So when this is so illogical. When these guys are claiming, the Ukrainians are claiming, oh, the Russians have 25% with accuracy rating. I don't think so. All 99% of your articles are how the Russians, when they hit something, they hit only residential areas. So that's like 99% accuracy. You can't fail all the time and hit the same target all the time. So you should say, well, they fell in the fields, in the beaches, in the landing ground, something like that. Or, I don't know, they remained suspended somewhere, they didn't fall. I don't say something different. Because if you say they hit always residential areas, that means they have a high accuracy, actually, right? I mean, it's so stupid. Oh my God. See, another people died just that. And it says, the enemy has twice used GRAD multiple launch rockets to fire on district, launching 80 rockets on residential neighborhoods. This was a deliberate and ruthless attack. So it was deliberate. That means they aimed, they shoot, and they hit a target. That's 100% accuracy. But somehow they don't want to deal with Ukrainian military because those are fast, you know. You shoot them and they're gone. This was a deliberate and ruthless attack on civilians who were sleeping in their homes. Oh my God, so much pathos, but not logos here, man. Details. Russian forces also attacked the city of Marhanets and Mirove Hromada in the Nikopol district. 10 people have been killed in Marhanets, another 11 have been injured. 10 have been hospitalized, including 7 in critical condition. Over 20 high-rise apartment buildings have been damaged in the city, as well as an administrative services center, a community hall, a dormitory, 2 schools, the premises of the city council, and several other administrative buildings. So known targets, no military targets. These Russians aim for those, or just it happens that they always hit those things? Yeah, these guys are tards, man, tards. A power line was damaged, leaving several thousand residents in Marhanets without power. Emergency workers are restoring the damaged power line. This is like a comedy. When I read this, it's like, who the you think we are? They really think we are, you know, the fish who's staying in the water, pop, 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 and then you know, the angler comes, pop, cast the bait falls down, and we're all on it. Boom, bite it, and we. This is how I see this. It's so funny in my head when I imagine things like, these guys really think we are below 86. Hey, did they bring news? No. Okay. The news comes and everybody jump on it and bite it and got it. It's unbelievable. And then a woman had been killed. A Russian strike has razed her house to the ground. And they tell us what happened. In addition, 11 private houses and a gas pipeline. Okay, I'm not going to continue with this because it's just, it says the damage around 1,000 people have their gas supply cut off. So it's only the Russians are Huns, and, you know, they're just unbelievably inaccurate in their strikes, but somehow they destroy always the same subjects or targets, which is residential. So you gotta give them, then they are very accurate in hitting them. So which one is it? I mean, really, someone call these guys and tell them to add something. Hey, and the military personnel was injured in his pinky toe, something like that, or at least someone had a little panic attack on military, or I don't know, something. It's always buildings, residential, schools, hospitals, power lines, houses, old lady dying, children crying, they were sleeping, killed in the sleep. And the Russians are aiming for that, but they have a 25% accuracy rating. Somehow, where's the 75 going? Where are the 75 of their shots going? So if they had 80 here, multiply that with what? With 3? And see where the other go. Right? So 240 rockets or GRAD must have gone somewhere. Where are they? It can't be on the civilians, because you said always the articles are on civilians. So where are the 75%, the rest that don't hit the civilian targets? Are they hitting the military targets? Or they just remain suspended in the air somehow? They never fall down on Earth. They just, you know, oppose gravity. It's unbelievable, man. It's unfortunate because it's a war. People die. People die. Countries get destroyed. And you know, I'm just imagining this kind of funny scenarios. And it's I mean, but is this weasel? I'm not talking about the poor people who die and get injured. Is this weasels who type this kind of articles? These guys should be smacked around. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.